I was pretty religious growing up, and I remember being very proud of my faith and of how strong it was. And I certainly, for a long time, even when I was starting to question, I was raised as a Roman Catholic, and even when I started to question the tenets of that particular church, and when I started to think, well, maybe, things in the Bible really aren't truth, maybe they're more fiction, they're more parables, they give us a moral framework, but they don't need to be taken literally. Even when that started happening, I still believed that there was something bigger than humanity, than what was in front of us, than the things that we can measure on Earth. And although there are lots of things that we can't measure that exist, right? The size of the universe, maybe people can measure it. I don't know how to measure it. It seems like a difficult problem for me. The number of entities out there, these kind of vast things. Even how our minds work and how the brain works. Even within our own body, there's a lot of mystery. But I no longer believe that there is some kind of force out there that is involved in my life specifically and cares about what happens to me. And it wasn't until I really started to understand that this notion that it's up to me if how I'm going to live my life, and I'm not going to be alive after my body stops functioning. That was a big turning point for me. So, but it was gradual. It was a series of observations and a series of philosophical conversations and arguments that I had both with myself and with others, and that sort of came to me this way. And I would say some of the most poignant moments for me, or the moments that changed me the most, were the ones in which I realized that suffering is universal. It doesn't matter how good a person you are, how moral a person you are. You suffer, or people around you suffer, or you don't. And that's just because you're lucky. There doesn't seem to be any purpose or logic to suffering. And once I realized that, this whole notion that there is some being or some force that is looking out for me and yet letting innocence suffer just didn't make any sense.